I just feel like Brandon Aiyuk is a moron, dude. There's no way he or his team could not have finagled this in such a way that where they keep at least some or all of his guarantees. There's no way they couldn't finagle this in such a way where they keep some or all of his guarantees. All they had to do was create like a record of good faith, right? Where he shows up all the time. He's first to the facility. He's last to leave. He shows up for the check-ins. He shows up for the weigh-ins. He's there for playbook installation. He's fully engaged, right? And then when the 49ers doctors tell you, hey, you're 100% healthy, you're cleared to play, go out on the field and practice, and then you say, I don't feel that great, then they find another doctor and they say, no, this doctor says you're 100% good to go. You're telling me they couldn't find one doctor? In the whole of the USA, they couldn't find one doctor to say, I don't know, I think you're injured. Yeah, I agree, you're injured. There's not a Saul Goodman of doctors out there. There's no, like crystal-wearing homeopathic doctor who goes, yeah, I feel your pain. Your pain is real. Whatever you feel is real. There's nobody they could have found to say that, such that when you get to arbitration or in when you file a grievance, where you couldn't point to this record of good faith and cooperation, you could ask the trainer, hey, did the player show up? Was he first to the facility and last to leave? Did he do his best in rehab? You know what I'm saying? All he had to do was, I feel some pain. And then combined with his own doctor, the team almost certainly would have come to some settlement where you keep some or all of your guarantees. And more likely than that, they would have traded him for peanuts. More likely. But I don't know. I feel like he's a moron. I feel like he and his team are morons. Speaking of morons, we have been embroiled in the is Sydney Sweeney fine wars. We have been, it's been tearing our community apart here. Okay, the is Sydney Sweeney fine war has been tearing the community apart. But as you know, there was a major turning point, right? There was it was like World War II. You remember in World War II, I believe it was in 1942, Rommel, the Desert Fox, he had this crazy aura of invincibility, Rommel and the Germans were on this crazy hot streak. They were stacking one win after another, right? And in 42, Rommel was pushing deep into Egypt towards the Suez Canal, when those plucky imperial British, those plucky colonial power, the British, they stood their ground and handed Rommel a big fat L. They said, here you go, buddy. They handed Rommel and the Axis one of their first major L's in the European theater, marking, a turning of the tide, right? And that was the Battle of Kay Adams. That was the Battle of Kay Adams, where I proved to you Sydney Sweeney, by definition, cannot be one of the finest women on earth if Kay Adams, who nobody says is one of the finest women on earth, is obviously more desirable than Sydney Sweeney. So I proved that. That was a major turning point. And now this is your Stalingrad, bro. Like, it's over. It's over. You have some random woman washing her dog on Twitter finer than Sydney Sweeney. This is your Stalingrad, bro. This is your Stalingrad. You invaded Russia in wintertime, and your supply lines are extended, and it's over. It's over. It's done. Okay? There's nothing left to say. When you have random women washing their dog on Twitter finer than Sydney Sweeney, you know she's not one of the finest women on earth. It can't be, by definition, it can't be true. So this is your Stalingrad. Your supply lines are extended. It's over. It's over. It's donezo. We're wrapping it up. Well, there's still the Battle of the Bulge to come. You know what I'm saying? There's still a few battles to come. Maybe you guys can sue for peace, but you cannot win anymore. Let's just say that. Like, maybe you could sue for peace. Maybe you could hold on to some territory, but in essence, it's done.
Yeah. Do you want to win or do you want to lose? Because you're going to lose with J.J. McCarthy, right?
The Vikings are losing to the Packers in Green Bay. I don't really understand. I do understand it. I do. Colin Cowherd, Nick Wright, John Middlekauf, all of them are criticizing the Vikings for letting Sam Darnold go and going with J.J. McCarthy, when you know if they had done the opposite, if they had kept Sam Darnold, they would be making the opposite argument. You know that. Sam Darnold just threw 4 interceptions last week, right? Something like that. So if they had kept Sam Darnold, they would have said, "Oh, you already saw he folds in big games. What are you doing? You know what the definition of insanity is? Doing the same thing over and over again." So if they either part of the decision tree, they were going to criticize, and that's what they're doing now. They're criticizing them because they're letting their young quarterback develop and trying to see what they have. Like if he's good, then we keep developing him. If he's not good, then we draft somebody else. Yeah, that's the logic, bro. What are you talking about? And John Middlekauf especially keeps going like, oh, it's a ready to win team. Were they a ready to win team last year when they lost with Sam Darnold? Like, I just know he would be making the opposite argument. He does that all the time. Whichever part of the decision you make, they're going to criticize it, and they're going to act like know-it-alls. Like, oh, I should have told you. They criticize both sides of the argument, dude. They're like douchebags, dude. They are like absolute douchebags. And I say that like really enjoying Colin Cowherd, Nick Wright, John Middlekauf. I like watching those shows, but they are like a-holes, dude. Seriously, they're a-holes. They're like cretins. They're like parasites. Let's see, the Chiefs. I don't know how this game is going to play out, but Chiefs superfan Nick Wright has been trashing Daniel Jones all season, so that would be poetic justice if Daniel Jones and the Colts could beat the Chiefs. Can I tell you something? I'm so conflicted about everyone now starting to see what I've been saying for 3 years, that Patrick Mahomes has been declining. It's like when you're a fan of like a small band, right? And you're very passionate about it, and then when like the mainstream gets into it, you start to feel like, you know, like, wait a minute, you guys weren't here for the hard times. That's how I feel about the Patrick Mahomes sucking thing. Like, I've been saying that for years, and now everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. I feel very conflicted about it. I'm like, I deserve like a statue for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I deserve recompense. I feel like everybody's like just jumping on the bandwagon, dude. You guys weren't there during the hard times. I was showing you in the suit. I was going through the film. You know how I feel about the film jockeys, right? It's just so. I showed you the film that Patrick Mahomes sucked in the Super Bowl. It wasn't his O-line. I just showed you that. I went through that, dude. And now everybody jumping on the bandwagon. So the 49ers, if they win this game, and they should, listen, the 49ers lose this game, I quit. I just quit. Like, I'm done for the season if they lose this game. They cannot lose this game. But if they win this game, if the 49ers win this game, they are en route, as I predicted in the offseason and throughout the season. I predicted 10-7, and the playoff berth comes down to 2 games. The Bears, obviously, and the Seahawks. Both very tough games. But you just want a chance. And I have to say, the team is looking... I don't want to say this and then they lose. But, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall. That's a pretty good offense. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look around the league and you see how everybody's playing, that's not bad. Like, I would take that offense. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you had to choose, there's who's better? Like, the Colts are better statistically. I'd take that offense. You know what I mean?